morning, friends. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone.
Oh, look, so many fabulous folks here. Hello, Paula Lepp. Good morning, Tara Miller. Hi, Val.
Hi, Karen.
Karen Nana. It was so fun. I get to see you 2 days in a row.
Hi, Jenny. Hi, Heather.
And friends, we have you right now on mute. It'll be muted just for the first 5 minutes while we go through our mission. And then we're going to open it all up so everybody has a chance to just talk it all over. But for the first 5 minutes, we'll keep everybody on mute.
So good to see your faces. Thank you to those of you on video. We're just still letting some people in, so we might start, Rosemerry, just a little tiny bit late. Maybe we'll go another minute and then we'll start.
We can wait a minute.
In the meantime, we'll admire all of you.
And Tara's pink hair.
Where's Tara? Oh! Oh, beautiful. Hi there, Sue. Oh, Shalane, hello.
Happy day after the solstice, everybody.
Lori, Leanne, Terry, Karen, Paula, Jenny, Val, Tara. Awesome. It's so great to see everyone. All right. Well, Rosemerry,
let's get started.
Yeah. Thank you to all of you who are here right on time. Awesome. Rosemerry, I'll let you start us off.
Well, first of all, we wanted to just thank you for being secret agents of change. And this whole organization, that sounds very fancy. This cabal, this kindness cabal started, it's almost 2 years old now, I think. And what we do is we go out on secret missions and surreptitiously spread kindness throughout the world. And it all began because Sherry had a very small secret gift of kindness toward me, and it evolved into a poem that I wrote back. And she said, let's have a group that's dedicated towards spreading kindness. And thus began the Secret Agents of Change. Raise your hand. Who's been on secret agent missions before? Raise your hand. Yay! Thank you, secret agents, for all your work. And welcome to all of you who it's your first time. I'm so glad you're here with us. Sherry, you want to say just a little bit about how it works?
I do, but first I just want to see. So who's here for the first time? Who has never done a mission before? Leanne, Karen. Everybody else has been here before. Yay. Well, welcome to our new secret agents. So Rosemerry and I like to keep this as simple as possible. So for those of you who have joined us before, you know that, right? So one of the things we do is we use this as an opportunity to get to hear Rosemerry read a poem, which is one of my very favorite things in the world. So in just a moment or so, Rosemerry will read us a poem, and then I will read you a prompt that comes from the poem. So it's also our way of secretly getting poetry out in the world even more, because we both love it so much. So she'll read a poem, I'll give you the prompt, and then we're going to unmute all of you so that we can just talk about any ideas that you might have that are dropping in about what you could do today. And then we all go off and enact our secret missions in the world. And then we have the Facebook group that we invite people and encourage you so much to report back. Because for me, that is one of the most beautiful things, is to get to hear the uplifting stories of what people have done in the world to spread some kindness and joy.
It's the best news. It's way better than watching CNN or reading New York Times, is just hearing what real people are out there doing in the real world.
Yeah. So I think without further ado, we'll go ahead and do this. And then of course we're going to unmute you. So if anybody has questions or anything, we welcome that. You know, we're here to just share some time with all of you. It's so great to see all of you today. Rosemerry.
Here we go. So just a very small preamble about what happened with this, how this poem started. I did an interview with a really lovely woman, Kara Johnstad, about it's a couple weeks ago now. And she has a radio program called Voice Rising. on Times Radio. And this is a question that she asked me. She said, this was the last thing she said in the interview. We have a lot of things we're in the midst of. What do you think this moment is inviting us to understand? Where would you like to be in spring? Where would you like to see us as a world be? I was like, wow. So this poem is, when the interviewer asked me what I most wish for the world, for a sliver of a moment, I cradled the whole world in my thoughts. Every president, peasant, seamstress, beggar, businessman, acrobat, child. Every one of us a vessel. And I knew in that instant the power of a wish, as if hope has a foothold in reality, as if a slim glimmer is inevitable foreshadowing of unstoppable radiance. With quiet clarity, I knew exactly what I wish for each of us. I told her too, but I will refrain from telling you. Instead, I'll hand you the question so you too might make a wish, so that you too might glimmer, might beacon. Thank you.
Rosemerry, you know what I'm going to ask you? Will you read it to us again?
Of course.
It's so beautiful to get to hear and then to hear again.
Here it is. I always make people read poems twice in classes too. This is, when the interviewer asked me what I most wish for the world. For a sliver of a moment, I cradled the whole world in my thoughts. Every president, peasant, seamstress, beggar, businessman, acrobat, child. Every one of us a vessel. And I knew in that instant the power of a wish, as if hope has a foothold in reality, as if a slim glimmer is inevitable foreshadowing of unstoppable radiance. With quiet clarity, I knew exactly what I wish for each of us. I told her too, but I will refrain from telling you. Instead, I'll hand you the question so you too might make a wish, so you too might glimmer, might beacon. And we'll send you all the poem. We'll paste that up on Facebook and we'll send it to you all so that you can have it there with you.
Thank you, Rosemerry. I was just thinking as you were reading that I'm so grateful to you. Most of you probably know this, but Rosemerry sends out a poem every morning. And talk about a beacon, right? Talk about a light and a glimmer and I love that. You know, I had to write that down, as if hope has a foothold in reality. And I feel like that's what you do for us. So thank you.
Thank you, Sherry.
All right, secret agents. Your prompt for today, your mission. Should you choose to accept it, which we always hope you will, I want you all to close your eyes right now. Close your eyes and imagine, let it drop in what your wish for the world is. What is your wish? And as you've still got your eyes closed and you're letting this drop in, what your wish is for the world, think about one small, tiny secret act that you could do today that would be a baby step toward making that wish come true. Don't let yourself get talked into thinking that any goodness or kindness is too small. It's not. So for instance, did you wish that everyone had enough food to eat? In which case you might anonymously donate a little bit of money to your local food bank. Or did you wish that no one would feel alone during the holidays? Then maybe you might send a letter or a small gift anonymously to someone in a hospital or a nursing home. What we want you to do is just imagine your wish and then find one way to begin to make that wish come true in the world. And as always, we have a secret special double agent mission, which is your wish for yourself. And again, thinking about for yourself how you might take one tiny step into making that wish true. You can open your eyes, and I'm going to unmute everyone. Or actually, I'm going to let you, I've just clicked it, so you should be able to unmute yourselves. That way we won't all be unmuted at the same time. But we would love to hear, did a wish for the world drop in? Did an idea drop in? I think one of the things I love about when we've been doing these live calls is that we inspire each other to think in new ways, and it's so much fun to hear. Anybody? Oh, I see Tara.
Yeah, so the first thing, can you hear me?
Great.
Okay. I mean, it just, what popped into my head was to call my elderly aunt who is stuck home. She's not in a nursing home, but she's in Grand Junction. She's not that far away. It's not even a long distance call. Not that it matters anymore with our phones, but anyway, and just connect with that family, my family. This is my father's side of the family in Grand Junction, and just call them and see how they're doing through the COVID. And one cousin works at the hospital as a maintenance man, find out, so yeah, that was it. That's what came up for me, is just to connect with extended family and see how they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Give them some love.
Mm-hmm. I bet she appreciates it a lot.
Yeah, I bet she will. Yeah.
Yeah, Tara, does that connect to a bigger wish that you might want to say?
Well, the loneliness that I'm seeing of people being isolated, and the picture is of connection, of, my mom, for example. I talk to her often, and she will occasionally say, well, have you talked to Aunt Wanda lately? But I mean, so that's small, that's still small, but just to see that these, connections, then I don't know if this makes sense, but it's just like mycelia or something, how it branches and branches and keeps reaching out and connects one thing to another, and just that connection, reaching out.
I love that. It feels like a great big sort of family in the biggest sense of the word. Yeah. Thank you.
A wish for connection. That's gorgeous. Oh,
Yeah.
And I love that you brought the mycelium into that too. Thank you.
Guess that brings up something for me if y'all are ready.
Jump right in. Yeah.
I think in a different sense, I'm drawn to where the connections aren't known, to the neglected places. And I think, I think our draw for where our attention goes and the attention we want is really kind of artificial. And I think it's been artificial for a long time. I think we've heard a few people say this isn't a time for heroes anymore. So, and I kind of alluded to that a couple calls ago. It's really about seeing the beauty where other people don't, or drawing the lines of connection where other people don't. So just kind of to color that, I've if it helps sink in emotionally a bit more, I've off and on since college, I've done volunteer work in prisons. And those people are some of the most beautiful people I've met. They're honest, 24/7 are faced with nothing but themselves. So I just deeply believe that we've got to acknowledge each other for the smallest beauties, not to go looking for that glimmering thing, or not to think, oh, that person's lonely or sick for that reason. And then we go after that reason we've already crafted for why they need help or why they need kindness. We really look for the dark and to really acknowledge the beauty. So I guess what I feel like I like to do is draw pictures or leave tokens of thanks outside tiny little apartment houses, maybe a little diagram of the beauty I see in their little concrete patio. They might have like a shriveled little plant growing, and I might draw a quick sketch and just run and leave it on their doormat and run away and just say, thanks for your pretty. And sometimes I carry Post-it notes around me and I put it on bathroom mirrors with some, blah, blah. We've probably all done that. Like, smile at yourself, you're beautiful. Sorry to be long-winded. That's it. Thanks.
Those are wonderful. And I love the kind of very, like spontaneous, there's a certain sweet spontaneity about that, like to see that porch, or just to think, ooh, here's the note for this mirror, or, I think that's so the wish behind that, what is there a wish behind it? Is inside it a wish for?
Well, I guess it feels a little bit like an agenda, and I'm ashamed to say that, but to really recraft where our attention goes, to rewrite what beauty means, to rewrite what kindness is by seeing it in others, by seeing the brightness in others.
Yeah, that's gorgeous. I think so much about this, about how much of what we do is motivated by what we're against, right? Like it came up for me so powerfully a while back, with poets against the war, and everybody was supposed to write poems against the war. But every time we did something against the war, it reifies the war, right? So there's this thing where I think that's part of what I think about with this wishing is, if we could imagine what it is, what is it that we want? What is it that we most want? We want beauty everywhere, right? We want connection. We want, whatever it is that we're wanting. But I feel like so far today, we've heard about connection, and we've heard about a rampant beauty, like an uncaged beauty, an unagendified beauty. And that's so not a word, but unagendified. but to know what it is that we want, and to be able to say with some clarity, this is what we want, because that allows us to inform that and move toward that, as opposed to continually reifying the thing that we don't want and holding that up as the standard. Yeah.
Rosemerry, thank you.
So important. The wish, I feel, is so important. There's so much power in it.
And I love that. And Linda, just 1 second, because I just saw you. Thank you. Yeah, because what I wanted to say is also this piece of it can be right here, right now, which Heather just pointed out so beautifully, right? In that moment of seeing that beautiful little shriveled plant, and love that you can draw it and leave that note. It's like, boom, your wish is alive. It's happening. And I just love that piece. Linda, jump on in. What you got for us?
Well, I've had the same wish for years. It is a wish that grew into an event that I tried to have, but that only lasted a few years, but I still have the same wish, and it's a wish for grace. It grew into something called a Day of Grace, because what I wished for was that just for one day, that everyone in the world could have the experience of knowing the divinity of their heart, really being connected to that inner divinity and living it from there for one day. Because I really felt like I knew in every cell of my body that if you could experience it for just one day, then it would be that much harder to go back to the other way of being, right? The other way of treating people. And for me, it took a lot of exploration of what I really thought grace meant, because I couldn't find a definition of grace that resonated with me. And so really what it came down to in the end was that grace is love in action, love in motion. And so I felt like that saying, there but for the grace of God go I reversed it and started thinking about it as there but for I goes the grace of God. So I'm the only person holding up grace. And that if I could live from that place. And so ever since then, I've wished that we could all live from that place of grace within ourselves. And really, it was just love and motion. And I still have that same wish. How I do that today will be interesting to try and figure out. But but that's still my wish, that because I really feel like, what I want in the spring, like the interviewer asked you, I want a whole completely different normal than we had before. I don't want to go back to the old normal. I want us to create something new. And if I could create it myself, I would create it from grace. And so it'll be interesting for me to think about how I help move us in that direction. But I honestly too feel like that one part in the poem about the foreshadowing, I felt like ever since that wish came to me, that as long as I was holding that wish, there was still that possibility that it could happen. And so I'm still holding that wish for grace for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Linda. I love the poetry of who you are, Linda. You always, I know Linda, so it's like she always brings this beautiful, talk about like, you're like poetry in motion.
Well, thank you.
I'm excited to hear how you bring this to the world,
Yeah,
today.
it'll be interesting to see how I can do that today.
Make sure you post for us in the group, okay, later.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, Linda. Karen.
Hi, this is my first secret mission. It's kind of reminding me of Get Smart. I used to love that show. Dun 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 dun. Do you guys remember that show? So, and I love secrets. And I think surprises are such a gift. And I've always loved poetry. I didn't realize till recently that how much it meant to my soul and how it felt like a spiritual practice. My wish is for, I think what you've said is for kindness. I've experienced so much negativity. I think people are really stressed out, and it's coming out for a lot of people with negativity. And I work virtually with moderate to severely impaired low-income teenagers in Detroit. And ever since I started working in September, I have moved inward emotionally, inward in my home. And what I used to do to spread kindness in my community is to write poetry on an archway that I have at my house, and I'm on a corner. And for a long time, my home was a source of ridicule in the neighborhood because I have a native garden and nobody understands that. But when I started writing poetry on this archway, people changed and they walked by on purpose to see what I've written. And sometimes they leave me a note in my mailbox and I don't know who they are, but they thank me. I have not written on my archway since the end of September. And so this is reminding me that I need to reach out to my community, and I think I should write something about a wish, and that would make me feel good too. It gets me outside. So I like, so I don't know if it's okay if I think that's how I met Rosemerry, actually, because that last quote was from a poem of hers, and I put it on the archway along with friends, and I tagged Rosemerry, and she wrote back, you know, thank you very much, or you were so positive, Rosemerry, about it. And yeah, thanks. I'm glad to be part of this group, and you're reminding me of things I've forgotten, you know, over the last couple of months.
Do you have, could you say, Karen, and by the way, Karen made the sweetest little video of people, of them painting the archway and like it was on, you know, I don't know what that's called. Super fast.
Yeah. Yes, I started
What?
making videos.
Very
I-
sweet. Share.
I didn't know there was someone in the neighborhood who had been documenting this archway for years. And I didn't even know it had its own Instagram account.
Oh.
I had no idea. You know, I think I didn't realize the impact that that little thing did. And so it kind of fits in with what we're doing. And I know I'm just resuming something I did before, but it's getting me to crack open again, because I've been sheltered here for a while. I had a granddaughter as well, so I have to remain quarantined in order to see her. And this has motivated me to get out there again.
Karen, where do you live?
I live in the Detroit area.
Oh, that's where I grew up. So thank you for
Oh,
what you're doing. Yeah.
okay. Have you heard of Huntington Woods?
Huntington Woods? Yeah, I just used that in a poem this week.
Oh my. You mean this Huntington Woods?
Yes.
Oh, wow. In a good way or bad way?
In a good way, because they used to have amazing Christmas decorations, and we would drive around there Christmas Eve and look at the houses.
Well, it's actually called Hanukkah Woods now. I mean, it's been known, it's a primarily white neighborhood, but Jewish and Christian. So, you know, my favorite recent story is I had a knock on the door, which I was not going to answer due to quarantine. And I look out my window and there are two young Hasidic Jews dressed as dreidels knocking on my door. And I'm like, who can say that? You know, who can say that? Only in Hanukkah Woods. So I'd love to see what you're writing, what you wrote.
Yeah, I'll change my name to my email. And
Oh, good
maybe
idea.
maybe I'll share since I'm talking, unless
You
you
can
want to comment.
You can also put your email in the chat.
Oh, okay.
And you could actually put the poem in the chat too.
Yeah, maybe you could do that. That way we can maybe hear some other people's, keep it on our wishes.
The,
Yeah,
I just wanna
so
say
I'll-
about wishing, 1 second, and then Val, we can have you go next. I just want to clarify, Karen. So what I hear you saying maybe is that you have a wish for opening.
Mm-hmm.
But is that it? Does that feel right? Because I was watching, you know, you were talking
Oh, I
about,
kept doing this.
and I wonder if part of it may be the wish for yourself. You know, it might be the secret agent, the double secret agent mission. That part of that is a wish for this. I don't know what the word is
Yeah.
for it, but I think the
Yes.
gesture for it would be that maybe.
I think that's it, because there has been a lot of negativity and unfortunately some targeted negativity toward me. So maybe this is what I'm expressing unconsciously. But yes, I have to open and I have to let go. I am letting go of, I'm letting like the negative, I can see a shield of kindness and peace that you know, and I see it as a shield, unfortunately, but I feel all that kind of drifting past me. And then I can see myself without the shield and being completely naked.
So there it is. So it's a wish for kindness in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a wish for vulnerability, maybe, for the self.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Beautiful.
what I love is that it's an archway. There seems something really significant about that poetically. You know, it's not a closed
Yeah,
door
it's a doorway. Yeah. Yes, it is. It's,
that you walk through, right?
yeah. It's called, if you're on Instagram, you can hashtag Huntington Woods Arch.
Will you post on the chat for us, Karen?
Oh, yes, I will double check it.
Okay. Thank you so much. That was beautiful.
Yeah, it reminds me of the support for community and kindness. And I better open up too. I will.
Erin, it reminds me of a friend that I just talked to on the phone this week that she doesn't have an archway, but once a month she makes an art piece on a poster size. Well, maybe not quite as big as a huge poster, but probably 3 by 5. And she paints something that she feels like is something that people will be able to respond to and relate to and resonate with. And she puts it out in her yard. And she says that she just loves it when people walk by and she sees them taking pictures of it. And then she knows that some of them have posted it on their Facebook or Instagram and talk about it. So like this month, she just had a snowman with little Christmas trees in a real stylized way around it. But sometimes she's had like Martin Luther King and some of his quotes and just various things. And she just makes it really fun. And a lot of times she paints it in kind of a childlike way, very simple. And I just thought that was beautiful. So I wanted to pass on my friend's gift. So.
Lori, tell her we said thank you for that.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, just hearing about it, that's really beautiful. And it really does open us up to like, what a beautiful way to connect with people, even when we're not there, right? Like, I think,
even when we can't knock on each other's doors and go in and talk and visit and share cookies and tea, we can at least go by and see what somebody's expressing and share something. So I think that motivated me when I heard her, and then today hearing Karen's arch and I paint a lot and I'm wanting to paint more. So right now what I've been just doing is putting it on my Facebook, but I'm trying to think of other ways I can get it out there. And another thing I wanted to share that I just did, my father's not doing really well, and he's getting older and loss is coming. And so instead of focusing on that, I decided to put out a wish to my family that everybody would write up a memory that they had of my grandpa and grandma and being up at their cabin and or wherever, or on vacation, or what they just remember most when they think of grandma and grandpa, what comes to their mind. And it has blessed me so much because they're just streaming in a little bit at a time, a memory and a photograph. And then I'm putting that all together and making a book to give mom and dad for Christmas. So
that's beautiful, Lori.
mhm.
So Lori, I'm just curious then, were you thinking maybe using your own painting somehow for your secret mission today?
Yeah, I might do that. I've done a couple Christmassy type paintings lately, one of a snowflake and one of Christmas trees in the snow. So I might try to figure out what I can do with that. And I liked Heather's comment so much that maybe it's not just the people that we usually go to, but who else out there that I can think of, or that, like, for instance, the last couple of days I've had a woman on my mind that I used to go to what we call the grandmothers group with, and I haven't heard from her for 4 months. And because she popped into my mind, and I do love her as a friend, I don't know what's happened and where she is, but it just makes me think it's time to call. So I'll call her. If she doesn't answer, I'll send her one of my paintings in a text or something.
I wonder if you I don't know if you're able to print them out, but I wonder if there are places around town you could leave them, like
Yeah.
the grocery store. You know, like in the eggs section, like just underneath an egg carton, and somebody could pick one up and
Oh,
I don't know.
tape it. Yeah. And it's funny that you'd say that because for a while, I used to get, I don't know how it happened, but I started accumulating all these 4x6 photo pages or papers. And I have a printer, so I could just run a bunch of those through there and print them out and go do something like that. Thanks, Rosemary.
Sure, you could write your wish on the back of them too.
Yeah.
And what it dropped in for me when you said that, we have a little free library. And when you were just saying that, I thought, oh, you know, that would be a beautiful thing to slip into the pages, you know, in some of the books in the little free library. So maybe you've just inspired me to do something around that, you know, just hiding my wishes in those books in the little free library. So thank you, Lori.
Yeah.
I wanted to check, Val, did you have something more that we just want to circle back to you?
Oh, I just thought since I was unmuted that I would go, but yeah, I'm so happy to be here. You inspire me, and Heather is fun because I've been with her 3 days in a row now online. And Donna's an old friend, so yeah, really amazing. So yeah, my vision was just everybody around the world stopping and sitting down and on the ground mostly and just talking to somebody. I thought it would be something grand like the cure of COVID or something, but I just saw everybody stopping and sitting and talking like humans again, like no division, no anger. There was just this profound lack of anger. So listening to Rosemerry, I would have to say a genuineness and intimacy, because she always takes me deep just when I see her face or hear her voice. And so I guess you could say it was peace on earth, really. And I love that, hearing that if we had that moment of grace, how could we ever go back to where we were before? So I think I have been really, really struggling the last 4 years with my family's political leanings. I've seen them very little. We are at a point where we can tease each other about it a little bit. They call me their left coast sister. I'm like everything that tweaks them. But I think and it's been coming up for me for a while, but I think I'm going to invite my 2 brothers and their wives to a Zoom call, because I haven't seen them in so long, years. We met on the beach in Florida a couple years ago. I've talked to one of my brothers visited this year for the first time in our lives. So I think I'd like to do that. There's something a little bit scary about it, which is funny because they're my family. And I'm thinking, okay, I got to calculate it before they'll be drinking a lot, so I'm comfortable, you know. But I think I'm going to get it. I don't know why it takes bravery, but it's asking courage of me. And I think maybe I'll gather a couple favorite poems that I've written and share a couple poems, and just, yeah, that's it.
A friend, it can be it takes a lot of courage to meet members of our family sometimes.
Yeah, I want to cry now.
Of course you do. It takes incredible bravery to do that.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, friend, for knowing that.
I'm so struck, Val, you know, when you said, you know, peace on earth, and I thought of a song that I remember singing like in 4th grade, you know, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me, you know, and that whole song, it's just like, you know, I could hear it in my head when you said that, and it's so beautiful, right? Like that's how it is. That's how it starts, is exactly what you're doing, and the courage that you're expressing. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. And I may cut off early, so I'm putting on a solstice event tonight that I'm in a planning meeting, but I'm going to stay as long as I can, but I love you all so much. Thanks for doing this.
We love you back.
Thanks. And one more thing, I'm definitely gonna leave some poems around. I'm gonna print a bunch of poems and hand them to random people in the stores and on the counter in the pet food store and wherever I go. I'm gonna be leaving poems this week.
Yay. Paula, did you have something?
Yeah, hey, hang on a second. Open that door room. I'm unmuted now. Sorry, I just kicked my husband out of the kitchen. Which kind of just goes counter to what my wish is, I guess. Because my wish, the thing that just like dropped in my lap was acceptance. And it kind of goes along with, you know, Val, what you were saying, Karen, what you were saying, a lot of folks, but just acceptance for both ourselves and for other people, but in spite of who people may have voted for, in spite of how they look, in spite of how they worship, acceptance regardless of who you love or where you're from or socioeconomic background, just acceptance for that divinity that lives in all of us. And so that's my wish, is just acceptance. And I was thinking, how could I put that into action? Yeah, that's the trick, isn't it? Is how do we put that into action? But one thing that struck me when I started thinking about acceptance, and that not only acceptance, but I see you to be seen for who you are. There's an encampment of some homeless folks that live under a bridge in town, and I was driving by there the other day, and there was, you know, tarps set up and boxes and things, and you know, my heart just went out for these folks that are living in this encampment. I'm like, are they ever even seen? Do they know that people care about them? And it's going to get cold here this weekend, or this. Yeah, if there's an Arctic front coming through, it's going to be, you know, I mean, I'm in West Virginia, so like cold to us may be different from cold in other places, but 18 degrees is 18 degrees, regardless of where you live. And we have some coats that I've kind of been gathering up to take to Goodwill, and I'm like, no, I'm just going to put them in a box and drive those coats by, get some of those packets of hand warmers and foot warmers, put that in the box, some big, thick, woolly socks, things like that, and make some cookies, something, and just take that down and say, you're seen, you're cared about, you're accepted, regardless of your circumstance. So that's sort of my little 2 cents worth. Oh, but also thinking of being vessels. I know we are called to be vessels of light, you know, and part of that is that we're pouring out, but vessels are also a receptacle. And so I want to, what little things I can do to fill other people's vessels, and not just the pretty vessels, but the vessels that are broken, the vessels that are damaged, the vessels that are different from my vessel. So anything I can do, and I'm not so arrogant to think that whatever I do is going to, you know, repair this vessel completely, but that's what I'm hoping I can do.
Like Sherry said, right? Like, why would we put down anything that we would do? Like, we don't need to be grand. We just need to show up like that. That's gorgeous, Paula. That's beautiful. What a gorgeous expression of acceptance. It's a beautiful wish. Thank you.
I know. And I love your idea of dropping off just all like that bounty of love. You know, so beautiful. Yeah. And Rosemerry, I was just reminded of your poem Saffron with the, you know, when we were talking about this. I don't know if you guys know it. You don't know it by heart, do you?
No, I can find it.
But anyways, the point being that the tiniest bit of saffron, right? The tiniest bit, how it flavors the rice. And that's what, to me, that's what this group is, right? It's like saffron. It's that powerful and that small too. Anybody else want to jump in and share what you're thinking?
Yeah, this is Sue. And I want to say that, God is still in the miracle business. And I'm looking for miracles every day. There are so many things that are so ordinary that we don't pay attention. And whether it's one plant that is, showing off its gorgeous flowers, or whether it's, that I can walk without stepping in a hole, or that, just the little things mean so much. And the more I appreciate all the little things, it's a big, big world out there. And there's so much to find that we limit ourselves way too drastically. So I'm looking for miracles and I'm looking to share them.
That's oh, Sue, that was beautiful. And it's nice to see you.
Thanks.
Hey, so how do you think that might translate into a secret agent mission for you?
When I find the little things, I can, let somebody else know about them. And especially here at home, because we take the family members for granted. So, if I leave my husband a little card saying, smile, the flower outside is blooming, or, thank you for doing, a particular something or other. It not only blesses me, blesses him, but shares, what I have found.
Oh. And when you were saying that, Sue, I was also struck by the thought that it's like it blesses the two of you, but I also believe there's some sort of energy that goes out. Mm-hmm. And like I was thinking, oh, I get blessed by that too, without even knowing it. That there's just this beautiful energy. And I so appreciate what you're saying about those small things, the ordinary, and not taking that for granted. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Shalane, are you waving?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, good to see you, sweetie.
What I thought about was a time when we can all hug again. And when we can visit our loved ones that aren't, that you have to travel by plane. One thing my sister and I did this week is we baked together through Facebook video, and we put our computers on for like about 4 hours. We picked the same recipes and we baked along each other. We talked and we rolled our balls and rolled them in sugar, and then we had so much fun. We did it the next day. Like she picked recipes, I picked recipes. We bought our ingredients, and it just felt like we were together. Like we were there the whole time together. Something I'm thinking about is maybe connecting with my mom, because I haven't seen her like in a year and a half almost, through maybe at Christmas, making a video of our family, or even just trying to surprise her with Facebook video if she can figure out how to undo it, and have her be a part of dinner or opening presents, or just seeing our family, or even just doing it and having a cup of tea with her on the phone, or like through the video. That kind of thing.
I love you and your sister with those recipes. That is marvelous. Shalane, and it reminded me, I have a friend who roasts coffee beans, and he will ask people how they like their coffee, and he'll roast a small batch and send them half, and he keeps half. And then they get on a Zoom call and they drink their same coffee. It's like a similar thing. Like, how do we bring that shared experience to each other? Or Rosemerry, remember that one time we had the same bottle of wine?
Yes.
Thank you, Shalane. I think that's such a beautiful idea. Really bringing that connection in.
Yeah, we want to craft next time. Like we want to do some crocheting together and have a little visit that way. It's fun when you can do it for like hours. Like it just feels like you're really together.
Beautiful. Wow.
I want to share something that Janine, who's not with us today, but she shared this. Did she? I don't remember where she shared it, but she sent out to the nursing home in her town. She made all these sweet little packets for all the different members of the nursing home, and there was a candy cane and a little note and just a few little things in the little bag, and she delivered them to the nursing home there in her town, and so that everyone there could have a present. I just loved that idea. That's kind of a big endeavor. It's, you know, I saw the basket of bags that she was going to deliver, and that was no small step. Like that actually looked like a very time-consuming step. But I feel like that's the kind of thing, like I wonder, you know, if I could do something like that on a much smaller scale. Like I don't think I could give a gift to the entire nursing home, but maybe send, you know, take over a couple and ask them to give them to the people who need them, you know, who like they would know maybe who doesn't have a family, who would need a gift. I loved when I saw that she was doing that. It just thrilled me to see this basket of ho bags.
You posted that. It is in the Facebook group.
Is that where it is?
Yeah. You know, and what you're saying reminds me, I used to visit back, you know, in the old days when you could visit people, but I used to visit nursing homes, but I would call and just say you know, are there one or two people who don't have any visitors and who don't get letters, or people who are, you know, especially alone? Yeah. And so that just dropped in for me that, you know, you could do that, you know, people who, because they do know, you know, they know their residents. Yeah. It's a beautiful thought.
Yeah. That's a great idea. I'll just call and ask. Thank you.
Thank you, Shalane. That was really fun.
I have an idea too, kind of along those lines. I used to, when I worked in schools, I used to like bake a bunch of those, you know, sugar cookies, all the shapes, all the things. I have a ridiculous collection and buy all the little twinkles and decoration things. And I would put them on the teacher's lounge. So like workroom for the nursing home, for instance, and have people decorate a cookie and then go deliver it to someone else. So that could be, you know, that'd give the staff, because the nursing home staff, oh my gosh, those people. So for them to be able to create and enjoy and then pass it on.
I love that, Heather. Thank you.
Any other wishes? Anyone wants to share a wish? Anyone willing to share their wish for themselves?
Well, I'm going to just jump in while other people are thinking for a minute, because what dropped in, I'm just sitting here looking at your faces, which is just like bringing me so much joy. And I didn't even realize it, but I just woke up this morning, I think, wishing for new kinds of connections. And as I'm just looking at all of you, it's like, boom, you know, right here, my wish is granted. And so I just wanted to say that, like, it's really important to me to remind people that showing up like this, what you're all doing here today, is such a gift. It's such a gift. Like this in itself, being here, being in the secret agent group, is a mission in itself. You showed up today, and I know for a fact that after I get off this call, I'm going to just have so much more energy. I'm going to feel so much more alive. And it's because of each of you. And so just please don't ever forget that. Showing up is an amazing, beautiful, beautiful gift.
And that's a pretty awesome wish for the world, that we all show up. Wouldn't that be something? That'd be something else.
Yes.
All to show up. Hello, world. Karen.
Yeah, when we were talking about everybody that we think of, I just want to mention a group that I think is lost right now from my experience, and that is teenagers. At least where I live, I noticed that they're riding their bikes around a lot more, but they're saying such negative things. And their behaviors are very troubling. And I posted about that, just that I was curious and a little concerned about the teenagers through all this. And people wrote back that they hadn't realized they hadn't really been sitting down to talk with them, not about things, but just to be together and to be with them. So if there is a young person in your life, I guess just don't assume everything's okay. I think they act okay, but I've just noticed that people don't just be with them. You know, they watch the news and everybody's worried about school and how are they going to keep up and they'll never be successful. And meanwhile, they just need love like everybody else, but I think they're a forgotten group. So.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you. Hey, Christina, welcome. We're just wrapping up.
I know. I thought, you know what? Like as I joined, you're saying just show up. I'm like, well, 5 minutes is better than 0 minutes, right?
It is, and I don't know if you heard what I was saying about showing up being such a gift, but I was so pleased to see, even before I saw your face, when I saw your name, I was like, that's Christina. So thank you. It is a gift.
Thank you for being here.
And we'll be posting the secret agent mission, so you can still participate in it.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Before we close, I just wanted to comment. This is my first time here. I'm Terry, and I love what you all have created in this Zoom this morning. I have gotten lots of good ideas. My wish was very similar to Linda's, that each person would know their own worth and their own belovedness. And wow, the ways I can put that into action were given threefold, fourfold today. So thank you. And I'm connected because I started following Rosemerry, and I love your daily poems. They're just gift, and each one of you is too. So thanks for letting me be here today.
Thanks, Terry. Thanks. Yeah, that belovedness, for everyone to know their own belovedness, that is a powerful wish. Beautifully said.
Yeah.
I wish that for everyone in this group, everyone on the world, but really this morning, very specifically for each person in this group to know that.
And you are beloved. I mean, what a joy to get to be with you this morning. When Rosemerry and I planned this mission, we weren't sure if people would be, too distracted or too busy this week to show up for a mission. But we just said, you know what? We want to see the beautiful faces of this particular group of people we love. And here you are, right? Here you are. And we always trust that exactly, the right people show up at the right time. And then you guys will go out and in doing your missions and in maybe sharing it on the Facebook group, which we hope you'll do, or telling a friend, that it just grows, right? It grows. Thank you.
Well, we'll look forward to reading your missions in our Facebook group. It'll be very exciting to see how you carry forward with the wish. We will post the wish poem in the Facebook group in just a few minutes also. But the title of that poem was something like, after the interview, I can't remember the title. It's a long title. I'll tell you it right now. It's when the interviewer asked me what I most wish for the world. I'll go ahead and post the whole poem in the Facebook group. And I thought I could take us out with the Think Small Saffron poem. Just a little affirmation of how the smallest things make a large difference. This is Think Small. Even the smallest strand of saffron goldens the rice and lends its good and earthy bitterness to each of the 10,000 grains in the pot. My friend says she wants to make a bigger difference, doubts the effect she has. There are many ways, I think, to reach many. One is to do as the saffron crocus does. Put everything you have into just a few threads. Then trust they are potent enough to change everything. Think small, friends. You just need to do something very small with your beautiful big wish, and you can trust that it will change everything.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Thank you. Your presence was such a gift. Rosemerry, thank you. Thank you for a lifetime that you've lived in order to bring these poems to us. Oh, what a gift.
Thanks, friends. Now, you are all secret agents with a very important mission.
See you in the Facebook group. Until next time.